I think part of the lesson with this work is that you cannot give up because people are saying no. You still have to fight.
I think the fact that there's already a trust and they know that when we talk to them about the importance of filling out the census, how it is confidential, I think that fact, the trust factor is there, and I think that definitely is a benefit.
They open their doors because they have previous experiences with us. And then we start talking to them about the census, but after we kind of like talk about what is going on with your life and talking, trying to engage the human being, not the person that's gonna be counted, not the number.
It's hard to get people excited about a form. I mean, honestly, there's excitement around, some of the questions about race, but the reality is it's kind of a boring piece of paper that you're asking people to fill out.
And of course, it's all about money, right? So I'm giving my money to the federal government and I want my money to come back here.
Any community where the mainstream media is not effective, is not trusted, there's a lot of extra work that has to be done.
If they won't be counted, they won't have help.
To have access to political power is as a result undermined because of the lack of being counted in the process.
With $400 billion of federal government dollars at stake, as well as apportionment for representation in the U.S. House of Representatives, an accurate U.S. Census count is important to every American. Yet before April 2010, the Census Bureau itself and state and community organizations within the Commonwealth worried about an undercount, about people not filling out and returning their census forms, whether through mistrust of government, fear, or lack of understanding of the importance of the U.S. Census.
This was a country at a crossroads. We were at a time where we had just come off the presidential election of 2008. There was such hope, a lot of civic engagement, particularly in underserved communities. It was a very exciting time. But then you have to balance that with the fact that it was the worst economy that we've ever had. Communities were really struggling. They were really suffering. And the whole immigration climate, it was so negative. People didn't want to see immigrants be a part of the fabric of our country. And it was just a very tension-filled time. Hope on one hand and a lot of fear on the other hand.
So, Access Strategies Fund, a Massachusetts philanthropic foundation dedicated to civic engagement, got behind Census 2010 with the help of 12 foundations that form the Massachusetts Census Equity Fund to award grants to 30 nonprofits within the state to actively encourage all populations, especially in low-income and other underserved neighborhoods, to fill out their census forms. From Boston to the Berkshires, these organizations, many working in conjunction with the U.S. Census Bureau, enlisted residents to help rally response to the census questionnaire.
Today, we're here to get that final push out to the public. We're one of 5 marches for the March to the Mailbox. Be sure to mail it back. Be sure to mail it back by April 16th, okay?
They used media such as radio, newspaper ads, and printed flyers, knocked on doors, sponsored events, provided translation services to immigrant communities, and in the process, helped build civic engagement and activism on the ground, in some cases even bridging cultural and other barriers to full participation in democracy and community life.
This weekend, we have to work hard with the Brazilian and Portuguese community. So now we are going to visit the owners of Portuguese and Brazilian stores. Señora, vengo para pedirle que me apoye con el censo del 2010, porque la comunidad portuguesa y brasileña no está mandando los forms, no está respondiendo.
The importance of the count cannot be overemphasized. When vital civic infrastructure and public works projects, as well as a wide range of human services from job training to youth programs and elder services, hang in the balance. The benefits of such resources to low-income communities of color and immigrant neighborhoods can make all the difference between poverty, unemployment, social disparities, citizen engagement, activism, and community participation that help neighborhoods thrive.
Mass Vote is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. We do voter registration, education, and mobilization, typically in communities that are underrepresented, such as new immigrant, youth, women, people of color. In the community, there was a lot of mistrust gathering this information, but just different reasons, you know, immigrants, new immigrants not understanding that the census does, you know, this whole mistrust of where this information was going. One of the things that we really worked on was having people understand that it was very confidential, that this information was not for any other purpose other than a head count. Initially, we did a lot of visibility, just helping people to understand that the census was coming, that people would be knocking on your door. We did the march to the mailbox. That was fabulous. People marched in from 5 different directions to Grove Hall, at Prince Hall, where we gathered and did a standout. We had youth and seniors, many different communities coming together.
Partnering first with the U.S. Census Bureau and then awarded a Census Equity Fund grant, the Worcester Youth Center had outstanding success in its deployment of 15 youth to encourage census participation.
One of the things that we learned as a result in the recruiting process was that some of these youth were not so open to working together with each other at the youth center. There were concerns because there are gang affiliations in some of these development complexes, and they felt that they weren't sure whether they were going to come across some of these individuals, or whether they going into those communities would be a problem for a youth that lives in another community. There's a lot of ice-breaking activities to get to know each other, to really get to know about their lives and their perspectives. And I think that work really was amazing, because towards the middle and the end, the youth felt very connected to each other. They felt bonded to each other. And so a lot of the myths about the associations was not present here at the center.
It wasn't an issue for me to go into other neighborhoods because I mostly knew the area, but other areas that I didn't know, I tried to keep as optimistic as I could, and I just basically, I know how Worcester, the people of Worcester are, and even though it might look like we're not a family, we're very close. Everyone knows pretty much everyone in the city. Even though it's a large city, we do keep close, and that's why I can keep my head up when I go through a neighborhood, knowing that I most likely will either know somebody, or someone will know me, or they'll welcome me with open arms.